I'm going to unmute us,
All right.
and then we can do this.
All right. Good evening. This is HNN, the Holotable News Network. It's your not even remotely close to around the clock Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes news, reaction, review, theory crafting, and more source. I'm Pico Burrito, your host, and today I'm joined, as always, by my wonderful co-host, CeliacSarah. Sarah, how are you doing this evening?
I'm good. How are you?
Recovering.
Recovering.
Yes.
Yikes.
I spent the weekend at Dark Lord Day at Three Floyds Brewery, which is their launch of an Imperial Stout.
Mhm.
So think 600 of your closest beer nerd friends.
Mhm.
And then everyone just says, hey, do you want to try some of this? We sometimes call those COVID super spreader events,
Yep.
but yeah, we just decided by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it was just best to stop because, we wanted to function as human beings. So yeah, it's been a rough couple of days coming back.
Yeah. I did not do that. It was a long weekend, but
Yeah.
it was fine. There was no craziness. So
Yes. I brought home 2 bottles of chemtrail, which are my big win. And unfortunately, they are big enough and heavy enough. I cannot drink them by myself. So it's finding someone who wants to drink heavy imperial stouts in 85-degree weather as we start pushing into the summer. So good times. Um,
oh man.
Before we get into it,
Mm.
I have a bone to pick with you.
Oh
Um,
no.
we have a little bit of a problem. And I told you about this last week. So my daughter in school last week, bored with her friends because it's the end of the year, decided to start Googling their parents
Yes.
on the internets. And she
Yes.
Googled me, and some YouTube videos of her dad came up, couple work related, and then there were a couple of this podcast that we do.
Mhm.
To which one of the boys in her class said, "Wait, I watched that," which I immediately thought was super cool. And he's like, "Your dad's not bad, but the girl that's with him is much smarter." So
I don't think
total
that's
garbage.
true.
No, it 100% happened.
Uh,
My daughter reminds me of it daily.
no, I mean I
So
don't think that I'm much smarter. Ah man, that is pretty funny though. I'm curious how it came up because I don't think I have your real name anywhere.
uh, the first couple of episodes that we did on this, the account that I was using associated with this was
Ah,
my real my real account. I broke these two off because I sent some work stuff in that direction, and I want to keep it separated. So yeah, it was great. Um, my daughter very much loves to remind me of that. So
yeah, I can 100% picture that.
yeah, I got even
I'm
with her
sorry.
yesterday. Uh, I got even with her yesterday. As I told you, she was at a choir concert, and
Hmm.
this happened to a couple girls. They locked their legs standing up, and she got dizzy and had to sit down. And one of the girls is incredibly tall, and my daughter is like Smurf short. And when the other girl had when she was fine and she had left, and I was standing there with the principal and 2 of her teachers, and she said, "I started feeling much better faster than my friend." And I said, "Well, it's because your legs are so small. It takes less time for the blood to get
Oh
all the way down in
no.
your legs." And like I thought it was funny, and she shot me like the death look.
Yeah.
And the principal and the 2 other teachers was like, "I cannot believe you just said this to your daughter." So it was great. Yeah.
uh, I am gonna point out because people are pointing out my math skills, are just pointing out my math skills. I did math this weekend. I was the mathematician this long weekend, and I did it right. And I'm saying I did it right because nobody fact checked me, and I'm just gonna say it was the correct answer. So that was it. We were playing
Awesome.
Dutch Blitz, and there was a lot of like Oh, it's a terrible game. Never play. It's a card game, and
Okay.
it's just pure chaos. There's smacking. Like I smashed my hand into my brother-in-law's hand. It's just chaos. Uh, and you get points and you get negative points, and it's this whole thing. So anyway, because I suck at it, I was in the negative, so I kept having
Yeah.
to add positives to negatives and then also add negatives to negatives, and it was messy.
Yeah.
So
No, that sounds really hard.
he ended at 106 points, and I think I had negative 12.
That doesn't
So
sound good.
it was not good. um. Okay, but we actually have Star Wars news.
We do. We do.
I feel like we should also point out you may have a thunderstorm and I may have a
Yes.
thunderstorm. So one or both of us may disappear at some point during this episode.
Yeah. In theory, we may be broadcasting live from Camino, just at different ends of the station is where we're at right now. So
Perfect.
I was this close to getting you to spit that water.
I know.
This close.
Zareth would have been so proud of you. And maybe a little jealous. Oh, man.
All right.
Where do you want to start?
Do we want to start with Master Qui-Gon Jinn?
I guess. That's
all right.
That's the big news.
It is the big news. We should make a bunch of poncho jokes right now. But I feel like Zareth and Solo made them all already 2 days ago, and I feel like ripping off. What I want to know right now is that we need to find out if Obi-Wan Kenobi is left-handed.
Oh.
Because if he's holding his lightsaber in his left hand, we can call them Poncho and Lefty, which was what Willie Nelson, I think it was Waylon Jennings, called themselves. So that would work out perfect. Unfortunately, he's probably not left-handed because everyone seems to be against left-handed people like me. So that's just terrible.
I didn't know you were left-handed.
Yes, everyone in my family.
Wow. I really think Jasper's going to be left-handed. I don't know, but I think
that's awesome.
I hope he is.
He will not be ostracized as many of us left-handeds were before. People believed in inclusion for everyone, including, us damn dirty lefties. So, all right. Let's talk about Master Qui-Gon, who is a light side support Galactic Republic Jedi. He's got some key attributes. This is a sport class. Yep. He helps his allies by giving defensive capabilities with the Territorial War Omicron, which is there. Hey, maybe a useful Omicron. Neither one of us read this kit, so
yeah. I didn't realize he had a Territory War Omicron. That's fun.
Yes,
says the not Territory War person.
So the inspiration, it's funny. Years ago, CG said that they did not want to make variants of characters based off of looks. And
I know.
The example they gave was like Leia and all of her 3 outfits from Return of the Empire Strikes Back. And now they're like, look, we just wanted a poncho Qui-Gon Jinn.
Like, here, have your 5th Han.
Yeah. So it's like, yes, he was in the same. He's only been in 1 movie, but this is the same guy with a poncho. Is really what so.
It's so true.
Yeah. So strategy tip. There's some things in the notes there that'll come in the kit. Strategy tip: try to maintain accuracy up to help sustain his allies. I guess they just probably decided accuracy up is just going to be a stat of some type, or just it's an icon that they can track to make you try and get it. And he will assist Jedi who attack during his turn, so pairing him with another Jedi that assists frequently will maximize his number of attacks. So that's all that's there. So let's jump into this. Basic is, again, animations are all on point. They're phenomenal. Mm-hmm. Basic Atreyu strike. Final text: deal special damage and inflict breach on target enemy for 1 turn. During Master Qui-Gon's turn, all Galactic Republic allies with heal over time or protection over time gain defense up for 1 turn. If Master Qui Gon has accuracy up, all Galactic Republic allies recover 10% health and protection.
Hmm.
So interesting little mix there. Um,
Is he
Special one. Go ahead.
is he the only other character other than Jedi Master Luke now that has breach? Do we have more with breach?
I believe you are correct.
Because I know that was like the houndstooth thing, and then I
Yes.
think it was Jedi Master Luke that got it.
I think they brought it into somebody else's kit.
I'm just curious.
Let's see. Well, that says breach ship. So nope, Sion and Django, Dr. Afra, and Fifth Brothers all have it as well.
All right, carry on.
So I knew that I knew Fifth Brother, or I was pretty sure it was a dark side character. Dr. Afra was news.
Mm-hmm.
Sion, I remember because he does a lot of stuff that he plays around with that. Um, let's be honest, the Inquisitors have all buffs and all debuffs. So it's somewhere in that faction's kits, it made sense that it was there. So yeah. And then it's on a bunch of ships now too, it looks like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Houndstooth, Razor Crest, Xanadu Blood. Yep. So
All right.
special one. Use your instincts. That's a weird one.
This is a comma splice CG.
Yes, yeah. Special one, cooldown of 3. This is just a straight ability, so no Zeta, no Omicron. Final text, dispel all buffs on target enemy. If target enemy had any buffs dispelled this way, inflict them with buff immunity for 1 turn and remove 50% turn meter.
Oh.
If the ally in the leader slot was Queen Amidala at the start of battle, Master Qui-Gon exposes all enemies for 2 turns. And if an enemy is inflicted with doubt, stun them for 1 turn, which can't be resisted. Master Qui-Gon gains 100% defense for 2 turns and legendary battle meditation for 1 turn, which can't be copied, dispelled, or prevented. If no allies are taunting, all other non-galactic Legend Galactic Republic allies stealth for 2 turns. If an ally is taunting, all non-galactic Legend Galactic Republic allies gain speed up for 2 turns instead.
Whoa.
So
does the summon count as an ally or a summon?
It should. If no allies are taunting, all other. So I don't like this move when if nobody's taunting, everyone goes into stealth because
then no one's stealthed.
Then no one's stealth.
Yeah.
This is the silliness with Trench's kit when you don't get the thing on the right tech on Django and then everybody stealths and then they just take out what they need to.
So okay, hang on. If no allies are taunting, all other non blah 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 gain stealth. So would he not be? Would he be the target then? Because it says other allies.
Oh, could be.
So would he be the one that would be like out in the open?
It could be. I wonder if he's got a reason for that in his kit someplace.
Yeah, but and then like if there is somebody taunting, everyone gains speed up instead.
Yeah. And as long as the Queen Amidala is there, the decoy is going to pop up.
Right.
And it should be taunting pretty much all the time. So.
Right. That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
And they usually are decent about saying excluding summons and things. Yep. So it makes me think that the summon will count.
The other interesting piece with this is there's one more line at the bottom. This ability can't be evaded.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I never realized you could evade straight debuffs without damage.
I never realized that either.
Because I know you can land debuffs on,
I guess, like
foresighted enemies, as long as it doesn't require a hit to apply the debuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I never realized that. I don't know.
And can you put an ability that can't be evaded? Abilities that can't be evaded will go on targets with damage immunity, correct?
I believe so, because I know you can land armor shred on damage immunity characters.
Yep. That would actually be able to. That would be nice to actually the land stun if it was there. and dispel a buffs and put buff immunity on a damage immunity character, which would be pretty nice. So,
Yeah.
um,
Hmm.
all right. Special number 2 called I'll Take That Bet, which again with a cooldown of 3. Uh, Final text, roll a chance cube. If the result is red, the ability has no effect.
What?
All right.
Shut
So
up.
there must be a side with red on it. It's a D6 for the Dungeons and Dragons Pathfinder fans. You're gonna roll a D6.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
if the result is blue, deal special damage based on 5% of his max health, plus 2% per stack of Queen's protection to all enemies.
Hmm.
Dispel all debuffs on all Galactic Republic allies. Master Qui Gon gains 25% max health, max protection, stacking max 100 for the rest of the encounter. And ally Padawan Obi-Wan gains 30% offense for 2 turns. That's spicy. If the ally in the leader slot is Queen Amidala and there is no active ally handmaiden decoy, she gains critical damage up and foresight for 2 turns. If there is an active ally handmaiden decoy, the decoy gains 25% max health and protection for the rest of the encounter. All Galactic Republic allies gain tenacity up for 2 turns and inflict tenacity down on all enemies for 2 turns. That's kind of nice.
So, uh, people in chat are saying that CG has said the dice can't roll red. Like it will never roll red.
So, okay, so this is the final line of this. Master Qui-Gon will influence the outcome of the chance cube rule. So it must be a case like if it pops up red, he does
He
a little
just
hand
does.
wave like from the show or from the movie, and it actually, yeah, that's actually what's happening. If you look
In
in
the
the
animation.
animation, it pops under red and then he rolls it off into something else. So, all right, that makes me feel a little bit better than nothing happened.
Fine. I'll allow it.
All right, so he's gonna do a bunch of damage based on max health to all enemies. He's gonna dispel all debuffs. He's gonna get beefier, and Master Obi-Wan is gonna or Padawan Obi-Wan 30% offense, and good guys are tenacity up, bad guys are tenacity down. Sounds pretty good.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, unique 1. Stay close to me. Zeta and an Omicron. Final text. At the start of battle, and whenever Galactic Republic allies are stunned, they gain defense up and are immune to turn meter reduction for 1 turn. Whenever any other Jedi ally attacks during Master Qui-Gon's turn, he assists once per turn.
Okay.
Whenever Master Qui-Gon is critically hit, all Galactic Republic allies take 30% protection up for 2 turns. All Galactic Republic attacker allies recover 10% health and gain advantage for 2 turns. And ally Padawan Obi-Wan gains critical damage up for 2 turns. While all enemies are afflicted with tenacity down, they have minus 30% critical damage and defense. The first time any Galactic Republic ally, excluding summons, falls below 50% health, if the ally in the leader slot is Galactic Republic, the leader takes a bonus turn.
Ooh.
Dispel all debuffs on the leader, and the Galactic Republic allies gain 25% max health until the end of the encounter.
Yikes.
If the ally in the leader slot is Queen Amidala at the start of battle, she gains 25% turn meter, 50% if there's an active ally Padawan Obi-Wan Kenobi. Oh.
Whoa.
And Master Qui-Gon assists whenever she uses her basic ability. All right. That's just the unique.
Yeah, like that's
And
just the Zeta up to the
yeah,
Zeta.
yep. While in territory wars and all allies are non-galactic legend Galactic Republic, at the start of the encounter, all allies gain 50% max health, 100% max health if the ally in the leader slot is Queen Amidala.
Holy crap.
For the rest of the encounter and defense, for the rest of the, I hate these parentheses.
I know.
50% max health, 100% max health if the leader is Queen Amidala for the rest of the encounter and defense up for 3 turns. Whenever Master Qui-Gon is critically hit, he gains foresight and 10 speed, stacking to a max of 50 for 2 turns. Whenever Master Qui-Gon is defeated, all allies gain 50% offense for 2 turns and recover 100% protection. If the ally in the leader slot is Galactic Republic, when they have less than 50% health, Master Qui-Gon gains 50% bonus protection for 2 turns at the start of his turn.
Okay.
There's more. If the ally in the leader slot is Queen Amidala, whenever a Galactic Republic ally attacks out of turn, they deal 50% more damage, remove 25% turn meter, and inflict ability block for 1 turn, which can't be evaded on the target enemy.
Okay.
Whenever Master Qui-Gon gains legendary battle meditation, all non-galactic legend tank enemies. Hang on. Ugh. Whenever Master Qui-Gon gains legendary battle meditation, all non-galactic legend tank enemies are inflicted with healing immunity and protection disruption for 1 turn, which can't be dispelled, evaded, or resisted.
Oof.
That is, I mean, forget the tank piece of it. They deal 50% more damage and remove 25% turn meter and inflict ability block, which can't be evaded. So good times. Good times all around.
Wow. That is a nice Omicron.
It is. It is.
We're going to have to apply it. I can feel it already.
And it's going to sit on defense until the end of time.
Yeah. I wanted to double check. What is this legendary battle? I think it's on Bastilla.
I think you're right. I think it's there, and I think somebody else gets it as well.
Okay. So it is plus 50% potency and plus 35% counter chance, doubled for Jedi.
Okay.
But it doesn't say in his kit how he gets it, does it? Or did I miss that?
It does. He gets it through his first. No, it's not the basic.
Is it his basic?
No, it might be the first special.
I can't remember where. I remember seeing it.
Yeah. So special one, use your instincts. He gains 100% defense for 2 turns and legendary battle meditation for 1 turn.
Okay.
So, which can't be copied or dispelled or any of those other fun parts with it as well. Right. So yeah, that's Master Qui-Gon.
That's a fun little kit.
So it's going to be Queen Amidala and Padawan and Qui-Gon in 3s.
Yes.
And then add 2 for magic.
Right. Add 2 Galactic Republic characters.
Yes. And I would imagine you'd want Jedi.
I would assume so as well.
I think this is coming up. We'll save this because I think we've got this coming up in a Discord corner question around what to run with that. But I don't know if this kit is enough to make bad Jedi good.
Right.
But I think there's some really good Jedi that aren't being used right now.
So you're not saying we should be using Jedi Knight Guardian?
No.
Got it.
I would have loved it if that was the case, but no.
That is not what's happening. Okay. Noted.
All right. So he releases tomorrow as we're recording. Today, if you're listening to this on Thursday, if you're listening to it after Thursday, you do the math to figure out when it's released.
And hope you didn't miss any days doing your extra shards.
Yes. So he'll be the standard Marquee release, or actually, I shouldn't say the standard, the new standard Marquee release cadence. So you'll need what? You need 3 spins, or is it?
Yes. So that was the thing. So with the Gungans, we got 5 free shards in the web store, and they didn't do that with Obi-Wan. They're probably not going to do it with Qui-Gon as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it ends up being 3. Usually, like you have to get 15.
Okay.
You have to get 15 shards.
So the good news, anything north of 12, you'll get there because you can't roll anything less than a 5. So
right.
Yep.
Right. So, and I mean, it's still even if you roll 5s, it still is slightly cheaper than if you are buying the shards out of shipments when they
Okay.
go there. Once you factor in like where you're gonna finish the event and everything like that. Yeah, with all the shards that you get,
Okay.
it still is a little bit. It works out. I think it was 70 crystals a shard or something like that instead of 80. It was cheaper, slightly cheaper, and then obviously if you roll higher, then you're laughing.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, and this is, look, this is not a math statement outside of it's a smaller number. Um, there's a huge difference between a $300 character and a $150 character. I
Absolutely.
know, that's a like no doy, but it's a weird case that like what they've done is that they've cut that in, they've cut the initial spend in half.
Hmm.
And I think they said on the round table there was like 6,500 people unlocked Kenobi.
Like got him up to
He
7 star.
yes, up to 7 star. So
That's
that's 3 times as many that got Bo-Katan.
yeah,
Now that that means you had roughly 2,000 people that ran those other marquee pieces, and this is only one character, which is a little. I think it's a little different when you have to peel it back that way. And as they pointed out, Kenobi's a really popular character.
right.
But it'll be interesting to see how this kind of plays out over the next couple of releases. I would love to see the new marquee schedule on a character like Stop.
Right.
Something that doesn't necessarily feel like it's tied to something.
Yeah.
So how many people are doing it just because they
Yeah.
can do it.
That's a really great point.
So
Yeah, because when it feels like it's tied to something, you do want to rush it a little
yes.
bit.
Yeah.
And it also like to me, I'm looking at it. Maybe this is the pessimism in me, but I'm looking at it as a like, okay, they're making it cheaper, quote unquote cheaper to get the marquee character if
Yeah.
you were to spend on packs right away. They are making it quote unquote player friendly because we get shards every day from the
Yeah.
event. So we're getting like a leg up in terms of where we finish with the farm. So I'm kind of like, how are you going to screw us over in terms of event cadence or
Yeah.
needing them, like, in terms of how fast do we have to have them ready in order to kind of like stay afloat?
Yep.
So that's sort of where my head is going with this. I still very much enjoy the marquee structure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting.
It's been funny listening to people and that when someone tells you where their line in the sand is, and sometimes like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And other times like, I don't get it. So I saw a number of people in the Kenobi release.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was willing to do 2,600 crystals to get those extra,
Right.
enough so that I could go in and get all of those extra free shards. But I'm not willing to spend an extra 1,300 crystals for all of those extra shards. And like for me, it was it's like the math doesn't work out. How does the math not work out? You're going to spend 1,200 crystals and you're going to get, what is that? 5 times, so 30 extra. You're going to get whatever you spend plus 30. Like that is the best crystal pack that you're going to buy of anything for any character at that point. And it's been interesting watching people that it was like the second that they just added one more roll on top of it, it was like, oh, I'm not going to do any analysis of this. It's just it's outright wrong because they're going to get more out of me than what they were giving me last time. I just think that's a little short-sighted for all the shards that come in from that standpoint.
I was surprised by it too, especially because like, granted, if you're in a position where you're not farming characters out of shipments, you're waiting for them to, like you have all of these other like farms that you need to be focusing on. That's a different story. If you're in a position like you and I in our guild, the majority of the players, we basically have everything. Like we're just
Yeah.
waiting for the next thing. So chances are you're going to be trying to get these characters up as fast as possible,
Yes.
including buying shards from shipments, most likely. So it just seemed a little bit weird. Um, I don't understand the math behind it either because I'm only looking at it from a perspective of if you're getting it out of shipments. Um, it did remind me of when we had Conquest initially, and then they retuned it, and now you have to spend refreshes in Conquest, and people are like,
Yeah.
"Oh, well, we weren't spending refreshes before." I'm like, but
Yeah.
it's still the cheapest way to get a brand new character.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. It it I feel like CG's not learning their lesson in terms of how they implement things and then changing it. Like you have to start too strong and then dial it
Yes.
back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just turmoil everywhere.
And I guess I would understand the argument if it was if we were talking about it in terms of like the Jar Jar characters.
Right.
I'm not going to have them unlocked on in time, so saving myself a little bit of shards when I know that I've got 3 months to farm them. I don't care. I can use those crystals somewhere else. Like I get that piece of it. These two characters are again. I think that part of why we're probably going to see a big rush around them is they are clearly designed to be bolted at either side of Queen Amidala's hips.
Right.
So trying to get them as quickly as possible makes a lot of sense because it's all in the game. If you don't have the Gungans right now, you're 2.5 months away from being able to unlock,
Right.
Jar Jar again.
So okay, let's do some quick math.
Okay.
Qui Gon's coming out tomorrow, which is the
Mm-hmm.
23rd, and let's say he goes farmable in 9 weeks, which usually it's 8 to 9 weeks
Okay.
from Marquee date. So 4, 5, 6 is July 4th. 7, 8. That means he would be farmable theoretically July 25th that week. And the raid is probably dropping. Let's give it a 2-week window around that date.
Yeah.
And you're gonna want them for the raid. Like they said, you're gonna want Amidala, and I would like if depending where he goes, like you might be farming them for a month, 2 months, before you can even use them in the raid, and that's eating into your return on investment.
Yeah. I fully expect for the raid at this point, and I know people want and we'll talk about this coming up, but people want the road ahead and people want to see the raid characters.
Yeah.
I will draw a line in the sand right now. 60% of your raid teams are going to be General Grievous with Stop on the team. It's going to be the Gungans, and it's going to be Queen Amidala with these two.
Mm-hmm.
That will be 60% of what everyone needs to be good at the raid. The other two teams will be weird combinations of things that kind of people do from that standpoint, but you're going to want them there. That's it's just start and stop. That's the answer. And those three teams will probably be max score teams because I think we're going to be back to some of the RNG is taken out of that from that standpoint.
Right.
And yeah, so it was interesting kind of watching the feedback around that. But I think you bring up a really good point of if you start strong and you dial back to where you need to be, that's where you end up. And honestly, because we've even seen it come back the other direction. It's like, oh no, they're doing something good for me. So therefore, like I feel like I'm winning out of this. They were charging, it was 4 spins. It's now down to 3. This is in my favor. I'm now going to go step in and start playing with this.
Even now, like I never bought the lottery packs unless I was going full tilt on a character, right? Like unless I knew I was going to go all the way to 7 stars, I wasn't buying a lottery pack. Now that you've rolled this new structure out, I'm going to buy the lottery pack.
Yeah.
Like, so it just seems a little bit weird, but that's fine. So.
All right. We got a patch note, some patch notes today as well. Let's actually cover something that's not in the patch notes. It came out of the data dump.
Oh, okay.
So there were 2 things in there. one. June characters are Scout and Night Sister.
Okay.
One of the Night Sisters. That's all that I saw. So I think there's a lot of people who think that we're going to get some Ahsoka content. We'll see where that pans out. Um, and then we're going to get a Gungan drop event, I think June 3rd through June 6th.
Yes, that's gonna be fantastic.
So someone in our guild actually made the comment was like, if you're farming Boss Nass, now would be the time to maybe stop
Mm-hmm.
doing that, because especially if you're getting real close to the tail end of that, because you probably just want to get that out of the
Out of the
event as
way.
it comes up, and it shouldn't set you back from that side. So
That's a good
we've got
point.
a little Gungan relief coming in. Um, which, because of that, we got a couple of pieces in the patch notes. I'm going to read these out of order just to make it sound like I'm actually segueing like a professional here. Gungan Boomadir is now farmable on light side 6A hard, which
Mm-hmm.
is very, very friendly player, or friendly, player friendly, excuse me, player friendly from that side. Replaces Juhani, who is now available in Galactic War shipments. So they are starting to add characters into Galactic War.
They are. And they
Yeah, it
said
isn't a
they.
bad idea.
It's not a bad idea. They said they weren't going to do it, but I mean, eventually you got to eat your words here.
There was a point in my life where I said I was never going to eat sour cream because I thought it was gross.
Sour
And
cream is gross.
no, it's not. It's so awesome to put on things. Which, okay, massive segue all of a sudden. So we're this event this weekend is in Hammond, Indiana, which is 45 minutes outside of Chicago. And if anyone's ever been to Chicago, they have this place called Portillo's.
Okay.
And Portillo's is shaved Italian beef. It's so good. It is phenomenal. They also do Chicago style dogs. So Sunday we go over there, and my experience with Portillo's is it is the right amount of grease
Mm-hmm.
and um, bread to soak up all of the bad stuff in your stomach.
Right.
That is just like the perfect like Sunday food after the next day, right?
Yeah.
So we go to Portillo's, and one of the guys we were with came in on Friday, and he went to Portillo's for Friday, and then we went back. He's like, "You got to try this cake. They put mayonnaise in their cake batter." And I was like, "What?"
What?
It was phenomenal. It made that cake the moistest cake you've ever had in your life. And I know everyone hates that word. And like my wife probably is rolling over upstairs just because I said it and it's gross. But yeah, sour cream. I've seen sour cream and things like that before, but mayonnaise was the first time ever, and it was awesome. If you're ever in Chicago, folks, go to Portillo's. They're on like every corner. You can't miss them. Skip the Chicago style pizza. Go to Portillo's. It's great. Also, Portillo's, we're more than happy to take you on as a sponsor
Yes.
for HNN.
Yes. Please send some over the border. Actually, I'll just go over the border. It's fine.
Let's go
It's
over the
not. It's not far. I'll go.
board.
Oh man.
All
Um.
right.
Okay.
Yeah. So Master Qui-Gon event is in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think the hot fix has already gone in. They actually had it scheduled to start on Friday. It's now starting on Thursday. And they're going to do a reheat. They call it a reheat, which I think is a really weird term.
It is.
But Padawan Obi-Wan is going to be available in game for anyone who, I don't know, took the week off the week he was released.
Yeah. Because you need him to do this Qui Gon one.
Oh, you do actually need him?
Apparently, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Apparently, you have to have Qui or Obi Wan, which seems weird for a Marquee, but like, why
That's
not just release
interesting.
them at the same time then?
Yeah. Um, because that takes forethought.
Come on, CG.
All right, so there's a bunch of fixes that came
Mm-hmm.
in. Jar Jar ability text broken. Fulcrum can't target the shield generator, which makes me wonder if it's eatable by her. Um, there's some weird things. I don't really think there was anything in here that was
The main thing is Bam is coming out of the Kashyyyk platoons in territory battles.
got it. Yep. Okay.
Um, which is great because he's a locked requirement to use in the mission to open up Mandalore in the same phase. So
Okay. So when we need to start setting platoons,
yes,
is that the same day that I would need to use grief on Tatooine.
Yes.
I'm pissed off in advance.
Why are you using grief on? Oh, because you're doing. What are you doing?
Bounty hunt, bounty. So on Tatooine is the Tatooine's the dot heavy
Yep.
one where and
Yes. And you want to
you've got
cleanse.
the Fennec, you've got the
Oh,
Fennec's
but I
cleanse.
just use Kenobi there.
Okay, all right.
With Fennec just is there for the ride. She dies, and that's fine.
But now I have to edit that team that I defined. It's just so much extra work. Um, and they also fixed an issue with the Gungan faction modifier where at level 6 it can cause multiple counterattacks. Um, I don't think anyone knew that because everyone's just taking the one where you have to kill the shield generator twice.
Right.
So, um,
Interesting.
also, actually, this is I need to understand the when and why of this.
Okay.
Fixed a bug where Ray's ultimate would not deal damage to the rank or door pen.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Who's got Ray and is still running Rancor?
Rancor? I mean, smaller guilds.
What? I guess someone in the Lightspeed bundle who doesn't want to leave their
Yeah.
friends. All right.
Yeah.
And then
Man.
the last update, the Web 2.0 store
Yeah.
update, which it's funny. I saw that and I asked him, like, was there a change? And yes, I've seen the change. I see the change every morning.
Yeah.
They did an interesting UI refresh on that.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think so far?
I actually like the UI refresh.
Yeah.
I think it looks way more professional.
Yes.
Yeah, the original one looked really slapped together, and this looks way cleaner. I like it a lot. I hate that it does not remember me for longer than 3 days. Oh man, asking it to send me a code it is such a first world problem, but I really don't like it. And it is now like delayed when it sends me a code, so I'm sitting there and I'm like refreshing my email and it's not coming through, and I'm hitting the button to be like, send me a code again, and then it finally eventually shows up and I can get in. But other than that, I have no issues with the update. I think it also is meant to be like integrated into their PC app,
but it doesn't look this good.
It doesn't look this good.
No, in the PC app, it looks like the old screen, the old format from that side. So I believe that the remember me function turns off.
Mm-hmm.
That is a conscious design effort to maintain security.
Sure. I believe that too.
I get it's stupid, but it's the single sign-on that I have in my company, but then I have to hit it 47 times in a day because it's not really single sign-on.
Yeah. It's the same thing. I go to work and they're like, hey, authenticate yourself 5 times a day, but I'm literally in the building. Same idea.
What is also, though, along those lines, the PC app, when it signs me out, even though I click remember me, it does not remember me on the EA app.
Really?
And I hate it because I use complex passwords, and now I now have to go log into my complex password app to do that, and I can never remember what that password is. So now I have to pull out my phone to remind me of what it is because I use a different thing on Windows, and it's a cascading event to the point that I was hoping to have the app open while we were doing things tonight, and I can't remember what the password is, and I'm not going to figure it out, so it's not going to happen.
So, no. Great. Okay, well.
So,
new web store
That's the new web store. It's there.
It's there. Yay and nay, all at the same time. Yeah. Okay. That's the news.
I think that's the news.
Yeah.
So no moon. That's no moon. What's the big topic?
Is it Qui Gon?
I think it is.
Because there really isn't any other big news since we last recorded.
There hasn't been. We did not get a road ahead.
Oh, man, I know.
Are you surprised we didn't get a road ahead?
I'm not surprised, but I am annoyed. And you know what? This is the first time where I really feel like I have no guidance.
Yeah.
Like, I truly am just like, where are we going? Like,
Yeah.
come on. So it is very annoying. I think it's overdue at this point. And I honestly, I'm shocked that we haven't gotten one this month.
I'm not
Like,
because so one, this time next week, I will have every character
mm-hmm,
at R7 or better
mm-hmm,
because we will not have a conquest character taking up space in our on our character sheet.
right.
So now why I'm not surprised is I think that the way that the stars are aligning right now, they have to give us a little bit of a longer post for the conquest character release. Um, and we need new feats and kind of all of the stuff that comes along with that. I just think it's all going to come to a head with that post that introduces the new conquest character. We get the road ahead, we get visibility to the raid, we kind of get all of those things stacked up at the same time, and they're kind of aligning it to that one single release in 2 weeks.
Which is still surprising to me because, like, we've seen them tell us what the conquest character is far in advance.
Yeah.
And it just really does feel like you told us everything that they told us from the last road ahead is done. Like, we're at the end of the
Yeah.
road. So why wouldn't you pave the road a little bit more before we run out of road?
So tinfoil hat,
Yeah.
I don't think that they're telling us
Mhm.
what's coming next because fingers crossed it's a ship in Conquest.
I hope so.
And if it's a ship, then everyone gets to do things like unload Omicron mats and Zeta mats onto characters because I don't need them for 6 months.
Yeah.
Like that's the math that I love. Like when a ship comes in, it's like, oh, I don't have to worry about that next big thing for 6 months in like the conquest cycle.
You don't have to worry about gear.
Yep.
Man, it is a beautiful thing when it is a ship conquest.
Yes. Yes.
So, yeah.
So you heard it, CG. If it's not a ship conquest in 2 weeks, you have lost the HNN crowd. All right. We riot at dawn in 2 weeks when we hear it.
Ah, man. So Mopoki did say apparently Meathead said today the next road ahead was coming soon-ish, heavy on the ish. So probably a little while still. Which is wild to me.
Yes.
Like that is what like what? What? No. If
So
it is if we get the next conquest character before we get the road ahead, like if we find out the kit and all that and we don't have a road ahead yet, what the actual fuck?
yeah. Yeah.
Like,
So I had a really interesting conversation with a coworker the other day that asked me, and they were asked this by a coach, but they asked me, do you want to be respected or liked?
mhm.
Was the question. And I'm like, I'm going to answer that differently because this is what I do to people. I'm like, I need to be respected. I want to be liked. Like I think there are things that there are needs and I have wants. That's where these things come down to.
Mm,
So I want a road ahead.
right.
I do not need a road ahead. Like I can make it a little bit further down the road.
Yeah.
I need to know what the next conquest character is because that is going to dictate what I do in 7 days around some really bad ideas.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where it comes down to. And I get, and look, there are folks that actually do need to know what the road ahead is because they're holding resources and what do I spend in the raid, those types of things. I think generally we all want it. I don't think we need it right now. But in 2 weeks, if we do not get the road ahead, that want will turn into a need. My needs will no longer be met at that point. It needs to happen at that point. So
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I will not have nice words if we don't have a road ahead in 2 weeks.
By the way, all these people like they figured I needed to be feared, that people are afraid of me. I smile and laugh a lot. And as I'm told by my coworkers, and if you go 1 inch underneath that, it feels like there is a fury and a rage that is
Ugh.
just boiling to get out. So maybe, I don't know.
Uh, I feel like you have much more different conversations with your coworkers than I have with mine. Involve a lot of swearing, and my coworker. It's my favorite saying of the day when I get mad is he just grins and looks at me and he goes, "Sarah gets mad, so I don't have to," and then he carries on with his day.
I get mad, so things get fixed.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, what's our negative? I mean, my negative. We know it. I want my friggin' road ahead here.
Uh, for me, I'm going to complain a little bit around. I can't believe I'm going to do this. I'm going to complain about matchmaking and territory wars, uh, because
Yeah.
we have found ourselves in a situation that uh, we tend. So the only rule that we have for joining territory wars is if you join, you have to participate.
Right.
So we typically join with anywhere between 46 and 50, because if someone's like the next round of territory wars, I'll be at my conference in Las Vegas and I'm just not going to deal with it. So I won't join at that point. What we're finding is now, because where we're at from a GP point, so yes, poor little rich kids, where we're at from a GP standpoint, we are either matched up with a gauntlet guild
Mm-hmm.
where we are well overmatched, or we're given a makeup. And in this case, that I feel sorry for the group that we got matched up against a guild with 100 million less GP than we were.
Right.
That was not fun for them.
Right.
So we're in a case that we're essentially going to lose two and win one, and not have a competitive territory match from this point for maybe one in the next 6 months or so.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's broken.
It
That's just
is.
not.
And I didn't know this until recently. I can't remember the exact number, but it's something like if you have faced a guild uh out of your last, I think it was 12 or 14 match.
11.
Is
It
it
was
11?
11.
You
Yeah.
They won't let you match up again, so it goes to
Right.
the next closest one, which is how we were getting
Yes.
matched with like Ma and Ka back to back. Um yeah, so it needs an overhaul. They got to do something.
And the other piece of it, and I'm not taking a shot at our guild leaders when I say this, because I think it's a case that it sometimes the realization comes to the wrong point. But like, hey, if you have the boss nass, and you can put an Omicron on them, we would appreciate if you would do that for territory wars.
Mhm.
And again, I get the ask, and I had already did it, and it wasn't a problem. And then as we kind of launched into this, there was a comment made like, we're starting to devalue territory war Omicrons because we're either going to be so outclassed it doesn't matter, or we're going to be so overclassed, we're just going to run them through a brick wall from that standpoint. And it's less about like, hey, we asked you for this and now maybe we don't need them anymore, but it's this whole thing of like, here's this entire game mode that I put all this time and energy and investment into, and I can't do anything with it now. Like
Right.
it literally doesn't matter.
Right.
And I don't know what. I don't like guild PvP in general, um, because I think that asks too much of people to play on someone else's schedule, and
It does.
I think we accelerate when people can play on their own schedule. But I do think that like now it's the point that I don't participate in territory wars.
Yeah.
When we're outclassed, we tell like when we're outclassed, we're like, yeah, guys, try what you want to try, but don't try. We're not expecting people to be checking in. And then these last ones, I dumped my roster this morning over like 10 battles
Right.
because it didn't matter. It just kind of sucks.
It doesn't make it fun.
Yeah.
And I say that as someone who doesn't really enjoy territory war, but I like it
Yeah.
when the matchup is a little bit close and I'm like, hey, I have this counter that's being called for and I have this one and I can go in and try and like I can use this datacron or whatever. Um, and now I'm kind of like, well, why are we banging our heads against this wall that we're not going to get through?
Yeah. Yeah. And actually, Luke McNeese actually made a comment in here that they went from 27th to 15th over the course of the Andor raid.
Yeah.
I think you are going to see a lot of guilds that are going to pop up into higher ranges because they invested so many characters from that standpoint. But and I the gap between 1 through 11 and 11 through 20,
Yeah.
it is a chasm
Yeah.
in those cases. The difference between the rosters in those two scenarios. Um, so
Yeah.
yeah,
It
that's
is.
I hope they fix it.
I
So
hope so too. It's overdue. I know like people have been asking for it for a while too.
yeah, yeah,
So, um, do you want to be positive now?
yeah, we can be positive.
Do you have a positive?
So actually, we're gonna do this right.
Okay.
I'm gonna read the bumper.
You're gonna read the bumper?
Which brings us to I Love You, I Know segment. I know that it's easy to get jaded by this game, but there has to be a reason why we're still playing this game after 8 years. So each show, we're going to talk about the things that we enjoy over the past week or two of Galaxy of Heroes. And I'll start with you tonight, Sarah.
Um, I really enjoyed that Zareth played my Grand Arena match. Does that count? Um, you know what? This is the problem with not having a road ahead. And I know, I'm sorry. I know we're being positive, but this is why it's hard for me to be positive. I don't have anything to look forward to. I don't know where I'm supposed to be aiming. So I feel like I'm kind of just like floating and being stagnant, and it's not a nice feeling. Um so like for me, I'm like, okay, well, conquest, it's the third conquest of the cycle, which is always just like a okay, let's get this over with kind of thing. We went over the territory wars. Territory battles is status quo for us right now.
Yep.
I'm sick of the raid.
Yes.
I don't even redo my runs on the raid. Now I'm like, oh, it's good enough and submit score. Um, so yeah, I totally forgot that it was 3v3 Grand Arena. And I got really excited because I was like, oh, I'm going to like actually try. And I worked on my datacrons. And then I was like, I'm going to go change my defenses. And I logged in today and I messaged Zareth and I was like, fuck, it's 3v3? Like, what the hell? Like, what's going on? So, I'm not even excited about that. Uh, I, I will tease this. I haven't talked about this with Zareth in detail, but we were kind of toying with the idea of swapping accounts for a season. um, so I think that would be really fun if we do that. I don't know if I would take Prevail Man or Professor X. I probably would take Prevail Man just because it would be even funnier. Um,
No, no, no. You get the big account. I'm sorry, but you get Mount Algo. That's what you should be running. Okay.
I could
If
not
you're
do
gonna do
that.
this, do it
Oh
right.
my gosh, I would his rank would plummet. I would feel so guilty. Um oh man. Yeah. So that might be a thing. I don't know if we end up doing that or not. But other than that, I feel like it's all just like our own manufactured environment things in the game that I'm
Yeah,
enjoying right now.
yeah. Uh, I felt very bad this morning. My schedule has been a wreck this week, and my company, the first Monday of the quarter, kind of that they give us the day off.
Mhm.
So I was coming in off of a short week as it was. So like Grand Arena came very quickly, and I realized I have not gone through Zareth's video to tell me what teams to run on defense because I don't want to put any thought into it.
Right.
But I didn't have time to watch the video. So like I actually put a call today. I'm like, I feel terrible asking this because I'm asking for information without giving him the flip side of it, like the view count. Did anyone summarize this that can like record it to send it to me? So I have like a reminder tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Watch Zara's 3v3 video, even though one, I got the list.
Yeah.
I forgot to set my defense, so I carried it over. Half of them don't actually have any characters, but I'm just going to remember to kind of watch it tomorrow morning or play it in the background. So he actually, again, I mount the algorithm. I'll like it. I'll do all the stuff that I need to do from that side. But 3v3 is the worst.
I do that too, full disclosure, because I feel so bad bugging him in DMs for information,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I just need to watch this in the background so you get the ad revenue.
I mean, I will like scrub all the way through it to get all the teams and write it down. Then I go back to the beginning and then I play it through from start to finish.
Yeah.
Uh, so I do, you know what? I wrote nothing, and as
Yeah.
we were talking about it, and the reason why I read that is I really enjoyed Faye being on the episode 2 weeks ago. I had a lot of fun with that, and I'll be honest, it was I was a little anxious because again, you guys had done this in the past, and I was afraid I was going to be the third person or kind of the third wheel in that place, and I thought it was great. I had a ton of fun with it. I would love to actually have him back on the show, but it was this crazy thing where I was cutting grass last week. And for the first time ever, our episode rolled in on the feed, and I kept listening to it because there was someone else there. Like it wasn't half of the time it was just me going.
It wasn't
on
just
the
you
air
and me
for
being
periods.
bored.
So it was really cool, and the reason why I did that is he made an interesting comment like that. It's funny, like I've read some of these bumpers, and you forget like he has been doing this stuff, and he made a comment. He's like, yeah, he's like, I would always like start with you guys, and he said like how he would kind of always like set things up and then let the two of you go. And I'm like, no, no, no. He spent the time to do this. We're gonna remember to kind of roll that piece in, and then we're immediately gonna throw that away when we get into the arena show and stuff because that's just dumb at this point. But
it doesn't exist.
so yeah, that was great though 2 weeks ago. I'm getting very meta here as I'm talking about how our last show was phenomenal.
Faye's good people. Okay, so do we want to do Discord Corner? Because there's questions.
There are like people that were like, "Oh, we expect you to show this week, and we're putting questions in without you asking."
I know. I was like, there are questions here, and I don't need to do anything. So, Banjo's asking, who do you think is the ideal fourth and fifth for Quad May? I like that they gave them a name. And I kind of like that it's Quad May, mainly because it makes me think of Quack, which makes me think of the Mighty Ducks, which makes me think of Charlie Conway, which drives my husband up the wall. Because we play a game where he names a. This is just so lame. Tangent. He'll name a NHL team, and then I have to name a player that has played on it at any point in NHL history.
Okay.
And we play this because he's always surprised by my somewhat good knowledge of hockey. And anytime he says Minnesota, I say Charlie Conway.
By the way, tell me you're from Canada without telling me you're from Canada.
Yeah. That is accurate. Man, that is facts. Okay. Anyway, so the fourth and fifth on a Queen Amidala, Qui Gon, Obi-Wan team.
So I think the two that I'm going to use are going to be Barris.
Okay.
Because she just makes him more tanky. Okay. And what is it when someone gets crit, she gets TM? Is that in her kit? I forget. There's a.
I'm not gonna lie. My Barris is gear 10.
Yeah, I heard. I heard Sarah talking about that,
and you also wanted to strangle me across the border.
I don't work this hard at the raid, so you can say things like, I have an R or a gear 10 Barris, okay?
She has her Zeta.
It was really impressive when you had her at R10 with a Zeta 6 years ago.
Yeah. Okay, so yes, she has something with crits, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So I think she'll work well there. And she's not really used any place. And I know that people say she's used in a Ray team, but Ray is becoming like the plug and play. Like Ray and Ben and 3. Like that's what it really seems to look like on that team.
They're becoming the new General Kenobi.
Yeah. And then I think the other is going to be Shakti.
Okay.
Only because She's good.
Yes, she is very good.
She has a called assist,
Yep.
and Qui-Gon's got some good stuff on his called assist,
Hmm.
and she's not used anywhere.
Yeah, she really isn't. She's just kind of a spare, which is
Now,
unfortunate
now,
because she's so good.
yeah, now that we've got the Master Luke Titan team that Cal kind of fit onto that, we've got Shaak Ti just not being used anyplace right now.
Yeah.
So I think that there's a lot of people think Grandmaster Yoda. I still think Grandmaster Yoda is better served under um, what's our Kelleran Beck,
Hmm.
who again may work on that team. I don't actually in Grand Arena that might be a pretty. Does his Omicron work if there's none Jedi there?
I don't know off the top of my head, to be
Have
honest
to
with
take a
you.
look at that.
Um, yeah, I like the idea of Shock. I was kind of thinking
Yeah.
about Ayla because I don't really use her anywhere.
Yep.
And I like that like you're gonna have control with her stuns.
Yeah.
Um, so I was thinking about that.
So he gives Galactic Republic Jedi allies 50% defense, tenacity, and third plus 30 speed.
Hmm.
So if you surround her with enough stuff, and there's nothing in the kit that says, well, Kelleran is active. Oh, I'm sorry, the Omicron is on his leader, so it doesn't matter.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Yeah, then
yeah.
it doesn't matter.
But again, you put him on Grand Arena, and he probably works pretty well on that Grand Arena team as well.
Right.
So I think it's probably one of those three, although I still think that Kelleran, I think you build the Qui-Gon team and you swap Kelleran and Qui-Gon depending if it's GAC or
Yeah.
Territory Wars is kind of the way that you work that. Uh, I do think Yoda doesn't have a home.
Yoda.
So I think again maybe on Kelleran back in Territory Wars, but I think Grandmaster Yoda is still just what do you do with him? Um,
Which is also a little bit unfortunate because he's pretty good.
yeah.
So
Now, I did read someone say spreading all the protections over times and the heals over time might work
yeah,
on that side, but I don't know if some of those are undispellable, which means he wouldn't
spread them.
share them. Yeah.
I'm curious about that. I want to go see her kit real quick because I don't know if they are. Um,
While you're looking at that, I want to look at her. So Barris is whenever an ally is critically hit, that ally recovers 20% health and Barris gains 10% turn meter. So yeah, and there's no crit immunity at all in the trio's kit. So Barris may make sense there as well.
I don't see anything about it saying that they're not dispellable. Um, yada 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 yada.
The one character that will not work,
Mm-hmm.
period. Let's not keep saying it. Luminara will not work with her Omicron because her Omicron states it only works with the heals over time that she generates.
Yeah.
And if someone puts a heal over time, and if she puts a heal over time on top of that, it erases all of theirs and applies her instead. So it is just hot garbage.
So it's just not gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Not at all.
I don't see anything about the heal over time or protection over time being undispellable.
Okay.
So I think it could work.
I mean, right now it's starting to look like the Island of Misfit Toys is Bastila, Jolie, Grandmaster Yoda,
Mm-hmm.
and then Rey. Maybe like a very, very deep in the rock. Maybe it's Ezra and one more. Yeah.
Poor Ezra. Oh man. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. So okay. This is related to
Okay.
Banjo's question. Who should we use until the new Jedi, so the lover boys, are farmed and geared? I don't like. I mean, there isn't really anything specifically in her kit. I don't think that is tied so heavily to them, but I don't know.
Yeah. So the good news is because she brings a tank,
Yeah,
you've got a lot of flexibility of who you try to put around.
I think you're going to be dismantling teams to use her
Yeah,
effectively without them.
I agree. Um, if you didn't want to dismantle teams, again, Barris, Grandmaster Yoda, Ayla, and and Shakti probably work in that case.
Right.
Maybe if you've ranked up Plo Koon because he does some stuff,
Yeah.
he's not really that great. Um, like I don't even think like Clone Wars Chewie probably doesn't do well. I still don't think you take Padme off of Jedi Master Kenobi's team,
Right.
especially not in this current Datacron set. And I think that if you pulled Jedi Master Luke off of Qui-Gon Jinn's team, you just broke up a really good team for what might be another good team, but um, yeah, I don't move gas onto that team and a couple of clones maybe,
Yeah.
but
You're gonna.
I don't know.
I think you're just breaking up a team,
Yeah,
and I don't know if it would be worth it.
it does kind of stink that it's a conquest character that
Yeah.
feels like you need two marquees to make it work.
Yeah. It does, and they're not going to
So
be ready
yeah,
unless
yeah.
you're willing to go all out. They're not going to be ready. All right. Voxen asked, "Do we think we will get Captain Panaka? If we do, will we get a fifth new character for the team? Who would it be? Do we think we would get the generic tune from the Conquest Sector 5 boss?" I don't think we're going to get any more characters for this team, to be honest.
I don't either. I think that since Jabba came to the game and they didn't release Bib Fortuna,
Yeah.
I think that we've seen a trend of they seem to not include the obvious character
Mm-hmm.
because that gives them design space to punch up that squad if it needs it in 12 or 24 months.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good point. Um, um, it kind of gives them like a failsafe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If things aren't working out, if they're not getting what they need to, they could release Captain Panaka in 9 months. And oh, here's this weird lifter unit that closes all of the gaps in the team that was just there. So I just don't think that we're gonna get something.
Yeah. I just don't see it happening. Sadly.
And honestly, I just learned recently that Pananka is different than the guy with the patch eye.
Yeah.
So, when you're there was a great Saturday Night Live skit last week, which is for you Canadian folks, that's like second or what was what it
We have
SCTV.
we have Saturday Night Live. We air it here.
But Steve Buscemi got punched in the face in New York a couple of weeks ago,
Yes, he did.
and they did this whole thing on like the New York City Police Department launched this campaign around protecting our character actors. And it was just like, how do you know if your character actor, if anyone ever says, "Hey, you're that guy, I just can't remember your name." Like it's the same thing of Panaka and the guy with the patch guy. Like I've just combined them into being the same person.
You're that guy from
Um,
that show.
yeah. I remember you enough that you were in it, just not enough that you were two different people from that point. So
Oh
yeah.
man, it's accurate. Okay, last question. I didn't see any in chat. I don't think.
I don't believe so either.
But last question from Bane, very important. Of everyone that has caused problems trying to pit Sarah and Pico against each other, who was the most malicious and why is that related to their Canadianness? I would like to
So
say,
yeah.
before you answer this question, I am Canadian. Does that make me malicious?
So what first of all, what's great is, and again, I love how everyone is now just trying to start a fight. Bane is trying to get us to gang up on Mole Pokey is really what this is coming down to. Okay. And normally I would lean into that. But honestly, who has caused the most problems of trying to pit Sarah and Pico Burrito? My daughter. My daughter is winning this competition right now. Okay.
That is hilarious.
That and whoever this little I have to be careful because if he does listen to the show,
Yeah.
young man, you're a phenomenal young man, and it's not okay that you actually believe that to be the case. But here's the deal. If there's also a soon to be a seventh grade boy trying to drive a wedge between this show, I need to know who this is so that I can go to his baseball game and yell for him to strike out. Like that's how I need to solve this problem. Like a grown up by causing him strife in his life as well. So yeah. Yeah.
That's probably the best answer. You know? So, I mean, the long and short of it is it's not related to Canadianness at all.
It isn't.
Which
it
means
is
I am not a malicious person.
No. But by the way,
Yes.
it needs to be pointed out, and for folks that don't understand this, we have this weird mix of. So if we view the world in the context of Canada is America's hat,
Yes.
but America is Canada's jorts.
Yes.
Okay. Minnesota is probably the sideburns of Canada and America.
Yes.
Because they've even got that little sideburn shape from that. Of the 50 people in Old Dirty Blasters, it is a disproportionately high number of people that live either in Canada or Minnesota. Like, it's eerily weird.
It is kind of weird, but it also makes me pretty happy.
And let's be honest, I mean, Minnesota could annex into Canada tomorrow and we wouldn't know the difference.
I was just going to say, I was like, it almost makes me want to go to Minnesota. I don't know what I would do there. But what do you do in Minnesota? Eat cheese?
Yeah. You do eat cheese. You drink beer.
I like cheese.
And you snow machine in the winter, which I've been told you don't call it snowmobiling, you call it snow machining.
No, I don't call it snow machining.
So I have been told that's a Michigan and Minnesota thing. It's snow machining.
No, snowmobile or skidoo if you're using the brand name.
Oh, okay. Wait, you sure it's not skidoo?
Yeah, skidoo.
You said skidoo.
Skidoo.
All right. So now we've got that weird Canadian English versus real English versus, all of a sudden, wait, now Bodhi jumps in the chat like, no. You're both,
You're both idiots.
You're just idiots. It's wrong. It's wrong.
Yeah, snowmobiling. I call it snowmobiling.
Yeah. In the skidoo piece, I'm sorry. I only accept skidoos as the watercraft name.
No, that's a sea-doo.
They're different. No, I thought it was a skidoo.
No, a sea-doo is where you go on the water.
Now I'm going to actually just be very belligerent and just claim that you're wrong. But we're not allowed to go to the internet to find the answer.
I am not wrong because the summer before I got married, we went out on the lake on the sea-doo and we did not take our phones and we went all the way to the opposite end of the lake and the sea-doo broke down and we were out there for 3 hours.
How do you just wave down another boat and hope that they're not murderers?
No boats out there. I was like, what is going on, people? So I got in the water because my husband is a baby and swam to the camp and we got somebody there to dial my brother-in-law's phone because he was at the cottage still. Yeah. And he does not know how to drive the boat. So he had to take the paddle boat and paddle. Oh my gosh, it was a whole thing. Anyway, I won't go into all of the details, but it was the sea-doo that broke down, not the snowmobile.
I thought they were... We used to make fun of a guy who had... I guess they're now sea-doos, but we called them ski-doos, who had them, and he was...
No, it's two different things.
We used to make so much fun of him for that. It was like when you're at a certain age, when you just kind of find like that one thing that you've just now decided like we're just going to make fun of you forever, like
Yeah.
in our 20s type
Yeah.
thing. Love the guy to death, but yeah, it was we made up a whole dance one night about how he was riding his now Sea-Doo, and how he was trying to use it to pick up young ladies, and it was not as funny as probably for other people as it was for us, is what that came down to.
Oh man, it is 100% Sea-Doo. I wish, you know what? I think I have a photo of it somewhere. I'm gonna have to look and if it says Sea-Doo on the side or not. But anyway, we're getting distracted here.
Yes.
Um, I don't think the rank and file has changed.
It hasn't. We've hit meta saturation.
I still don't have a 7-star Leviathan. I got
W-
my 10 freebies and yeah.
So I can't promise anything, but I'm working on an epic hack of Roger's internet service so that the next time Leviathan comes around, I bring down your internet
Uh-huh.
just to push that choice of getting that just 1 month further. Like if you get too close, I'm just going to bring down internet in Canada, and then you're like, I missed it, and just push it out even further.
Be like, oh man, don't know what happened here. Uh, I think I need 50 now. I think I'm at 50 out of 100.
Okay.
I'm either at 50 or 60, whatever it is. The point is, it's not going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah.
Definitely not before summer's over.
There's no point in spending the shards at this point.
There really isn't. So, that's fine. Shall we carry on?
Let's carry on. And here we go. And last but not least, let's head to Uncle Owen's Moisture Farm to talk about who and what we're currently farming in game, because everyone knows works comes before going to Tashi Station to pick up power converters.
Whew.
Sarah, what are you working on right now?
The Gungans still.
Yay.
I know. I finished Carpal Tunnel.
Okay.
Did I finish Carpal Tunnel? Yes.
He was the Cantina
He's the
Farm,
Cantina
right?
Farm. He is
Okay.
done. I think I am gonna do the whole like pause the refresh on Boss Nass for now because I need 50-ish shards of him. So if we're gonna get some bonus drops, I'll let that do its thing, and then I'll top up after if needed.
Did you go all in on the fourth one, or
No.
just okay?
I didn't.
Okay.
I did the, what did I do there? I can't remember. I think I bought the shards. I was hoping to have him be like 5 or 6 star before
Okay.
he went farmable. But I also am now like, do I really need to rush? Like Jar Jar's not coming back until like we know when he's coming back. I'll have him farmed.
Yeah.
So do
Yeah.
I really need to like blow my crystals on this? Probably not.
And we should see the fourth one in 2 weeks, right? Because they were, by this point, we were in the 2 weeks release cycle for them. So, okay.
Yeah. So that's plenty of time. That's 2 whole months to get them up to snuff. So that's fantastic. I do need to. I haven't done this yet, which is really bad because Conquest is going to be over in like 4 days. I have not plugged in my Queen Amidala gear into the gear tracker thing. So I have no idea how I'm looking.
I have a sneaking suspicion a lot of people are going to not have her geared by the start of month 4 because they don't have the other ones, and they're just questioning whether she makes sense or not.
That's kind of what I almost feel bad that I haven't planned for it, but I'm almost like, am I going to use her realistically beforehand? I don't know.
And there's not even it'd be different if they included a datacron for her.
Right. And they
But
didn't.
without even a datacron, I'm not sure that. I'm still not convinced she works with the other 3 or without the other 2.
We're not getting, speaking of Datacron, we're not getting anything like as a bonus for the Master Qui Gon event, are we? Like how we did with Kenobi with the Datacron.
But unless they didn't tell us about it.
Yeah. Not that I expected to. I just find that interesting.
Which it honestly is a smart way to go. And I think it was Solo was talking about this on the roundtable that if they gave you a bonus datacron for both uh, Padawan and Master, and the Master one was better.
Hmm.
Like again, that's the see you have to do it. You have to be correct up front. You can't be correct on the backside because then you don't get the behavior that you want. So if it turned out that Qui-Gon was better of the two and noticeably better of the two, no one's going to fall for that shenanigans the next time that they do it. They're like, no, I'm going to wait for the next one to see if that's the better of the two from that side. So
Right.
it's better the order that they did it in. That was a really interesting point that he made around that. So
That makes sense. What are you working on?
I'm finishing. I think today I finally finished up enough. We got enough. We finally got a win in Territory Wars, so I've got enough to take Queen Amidala up to Relic 9
Nice.
because she's got a tank with her. And then it'll be just gearing up Master Qui-Gon, and that's it. I did finish the Solo era Smugglers to R8. And that just leaves some old Republic characters like T3, Bastila, Jolie, Mission, and Zalbar. And I think like First Order Executioner to finish off 2017 relic wise. But that's starting to slow down for me just because there's it's hard keeping up with the character cadence release right now.
Mm-hmm.
And we're getting to the point in the roster that like it's just a lot of characters I just don't use.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know, it's and honestly I've had to completely just kill the idea of taking tanks up to Relic 9 because I just can't keep up with characters that need to get there. And I do want to do the Mandos to R9 for that mission, even though we don't need it.
Mm-hmm.
And I expect that we're going to need, I'm not sure it's a capital ship pilot, but we're going to need a pilot at R9 sometime this summer. So having some mats there are gonna matter. So
Fair. Um, yeah. Plus, if you need anything, well, I guess you're probably in good shape for the raid.
yeah, I have so I built a spreadsheet as soon as it was announced, and I have every character from the Galactic Republic era.
Mm-hmm.
So that would include Sidious and Darth Maul.
Okay.
They're all at Relic 8 except for the what people generically call the the council.
Okay. Yep.
And then
Mm-hmm.
like Clone Wars, Chewie and Cup are the only ones that I know. So it's like 5 or 6
So
that aren't there. And
good.
if I need to, I can make that pivot happen really quickly. So
Yeah.
I had a lot of them done already
Mm-hmm.
just for like the Kenobi fleet. I took a lot of them to R8 like during the Kenobi fleet in the Separatist fleet era just because it again incremental pieces gave you an edge from that side. So I should be in a good place when the raid comes out.
That's perfect then.
Yeah.
Sweet. So, I guess that's it. We'll get Amidala on Monday
Yeah.
and Qui-Gon tomorrow, and a road ahead in I don't know 3 to 5 business months, I guess.
I want it today. I need it in 2 weeks.
Yes. You know what? I'll be on board with that. And when 2 weeks hits and we don't get it, pitchforks.
Yeah. Unfortunately, if it drops in 2 weeks, we're not going to be able to record that episode because I will be in Las Vegas. And actually, I think I will be seeing Elton John in 2 weeks from tonight in Las Vegas. Yes.
Well then.
So, yes, Elton John is playing my Tech Nerd conference. So,
Wow.
yeah.
That is an interesting get.
And I get VIP seats.
Yeah.
Uh, Not because I'm good at my job, but because one of my very good friends is good at his job, and he's actually done something that allows him to get this year over year. So, yeah, we'll be right down there. It'll be awesome. It'll be great.
That'll be good. So, road ahead in a week.
In a week, yes, we'll do a very special episode.
There we go.
Yeah, but Meathead, hook it up.
Yeah.
Hook it up, Meathead.
Yeah. Make it happen.
Yeah, Meathead. If you bring the road ahead next week, and then you fly from Sacramento to Las Vegas in 2 weeks, I will find a way to take you to go see Elton John.
Whoa. You're promising him the world.
Man, that was a pretty strong beer I'm having tonight. Probably should not have put that on the podcast, but we'll figure out a way to make that happen. So
fantastic. Okay, I think we did it though. I think
yes, we did.
We made it. I'll let you do the honors.
All right. So thank you for joining us this week. That ought to do it. And until next time, Chewy, we're home.
All right, I'm gonna hit stop recording for everyone still on the stream.
Recording stopped.
And then that's it.
Awesome.
I'm hitting end stream, and we'll see everybody, I guess, in 2 weeks, or next week, or in 3 weeks. Who knows?